friends. Today we're reading Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Chapter 8, Two More Golden Tickets Found. That evening, Mr. Bucket's newspaper announced the finding of not only the third golden ticket, but the fourth as well. Two golden tickets found today, screamed the headlines. Only one more left. All right, said Grandpa Joe. When the whole family was gathered in front of the old people's room for supper, let's hear who found them. The third ticket, read Mr. Bucket, holding the newspaper up close to his face because his eyes were so bad he couldn't afford glasses. The third ticket was found by Miss Violet Beauregard. There was great excitement in the Beauregard household when our reporter arrived to interview the lucky young lady. Cameras were clicking and flashbulbs were flashing, and people were pushing and jostling and trying to get a bit closer to the famous girl. And the famous girl, who was standing on a chair in the living room, waving the golden ticket madly at arm's length as though she was flagging a taxi. She was talking very fast and very loud to everyone, but it was not easy to hear all that she said because she was chewing so ferociously on a piece of gum at the same time. I'm a gum chewer normally, she shouted. But when I heard about these ticket things and Mr. Wonka's, I laid off the gum and switched to candy bars in the hopes of striking lucky. Now, of course, I'm right back on the gum. I just adore gum. I can't do without it. I munch on it all day long except for a few minutes at meal times when I take it out and stick it behind my ear for safekeeping. To tell you the honest truth, I simply wouldn't feel comfortable if I didn't have that little wedge of gum to chew on every moment of the day. I really wouldn't. My mother says it's not ladylike and it looks ugly to see a girl's jaw going up and down all the time like mine does, but I don't agree. And who's she to criticize anyways? Because if you were to ask me, I'd say that her jaw is going up and down all the time when she's yelling every minute of the day. Now, Violet, said Miss Beauregard from the corner of the room where she was standing on the piano to avoid being trampled by the mob. All right, Mother, keep your hair on, Miss Beauregard shouted. And now, she went on, turning to the reporters again, it may interest you to know that this piece of gum I've been chewing right here, I've been working on for over 3 months solid. That's a record, that is. I've beaten the record held by my best friend, Miss Cornelia Prismetal. And was she mad? It's the most tremendous possession. It's my most treasured possession now. This piece of gum is at nights I stick it at the end of my bedpost, and it's as good as ever in the mornings. A bit hard at first, maybe, but it soon softens up after I've given it a good few chews. Before I started chewing for the world record, I used to change my piece of gum once a day. I used to do it in the elevator on the way to school. Why the elevator? Because I liked sticking the gooey piece on the elevator buttons. Then the next person who came along and pressed the button got my old gum on the end of his finger. Ha ha! What a racket they made. Now don't do that, friends. Don't do that. You get the best results with a woman with expensive blood. Oh yes, I was thrilled. I'm thrilled to be going to Mr. Wonka's factory, and I understand that afterwards he's going to give me enough gum to last me the rest of my whole life. Whoopee! Hooray! Beastly girl, said Grandma Josephine. Despicable, said Grandpa Georgina. We'll see a sticky end one day, chewing all that gum. You see if she doesn't. And who got the fourth golden ticket, Daddy? Charlie asked. Now, let me see, said Mr. Bucket, peering into the newspaper again. Ah, yes, here we are. The fourth golden ticket, he read, was found by a boy named Mike TV. Another bad lot, I'm bound to see, muttered Grandpa Josephine. Don't interrupt, Grandpa, said Mrs. Bucket. The TV household, said Mr. Bucket, going on with his reading, was crammed like all the others, with excited visitors when our reporter arrived. But young Mike TV, the lucky winner, seemed extremely annoyed by the whole business. Can you guys see I'm watching television? He said angrily. I wish you wouldn't interrupt. The 9-year-old boy was seated before an enormous television set with his eyes glued to the screen, and he was watching a film in which a bunch of gangsters were shooting at each other. Very strange. Mike TV himself had no less than 8 toy pistols of various sizes hanging from belts around his body, and every now and again he would jump up in the air and fire off at the TV. Quiet, he shouted when someone tried to ask him a question. Didn't I tell you not to interrupt me? This show's an absolute whiz-banger. It's terrific. I watch it every day. I watch all of them every day, even the not-so-good ones. I like these shows the best. They're terrific, these shows, especially when they start saying all these crazy things to each other. That's quite enough, said Grandma Josephine. I can't bear to listen to it anymore. Nor me, said Grandma Georgina. Do all these children behave like this nowadays? All these children, they don't even listen, and they just do whatever they want. Of course not, said Mr. Bucket, smiling at the old lady in bed. Some do, of course. In fact, quite a lot of them, but not all of them. Now there's only one ticket left, said Grandpa George. Quite so, said Grandma Georgina. And just as sure as I'll be having cabbage soup for supper tomorrow, that ticket will go to some other child who just doesn't deserve it. Starting chapter 9 next.